Hello everyone, welcome to Abnormal Investigations, guys. Got another drop for you today. First, I'd like to remind you is don't forget December 4th, Travis Carpenter is going to be coming on and we're going to be talking about the Awareness Project. I can't wait to discuss that with him. I think it's going to be very, very, very interesting. And we're also working on a lot of other guests, guys, for December. So it looks like we're going to have some guests in December. Should be a great month. And if these people come on this month, guys, we should have just a whole lot of action with boots on the ground and a lot of guests coming on the show discussing a lot of topics and what they're finding, what we're finding, and putting it all together, guys, and seeing what we can come up with. Should be a very exciting and learning time for sure. I have an encounter out of Colorado, and I don't believe you all will be forgetting this one anytime soon. I've lived in Colorado my whole life. I just recently moved to Hawaii, but that's not part of this story. Let me give some insight on my old house before I start. I lived on the outskirts of Denver, about 20 minutes from the foothills. It's a very small neighborhood, but very wooded. My bedroom window faced toward the alley, which wasn't paved like most were. It was a snowy night and my birthday when I saw what I saw. I had a friend to stay the night with me. We had just finished watching Top Gun, and we were starting upstairs to my room to go to bed. My window was wide open because I liked my room cold, and I loved hearing snow, and I loved to hear how silent the world was when it did snow. Now this was my sophomore year, and I was 16 that day. My interest in my supernatural had died down significantly. Imagine my disinterest when my friend shook my shoulder and pointed outside my window. "What?" I hissed the words to her, trying to be quiet since my parents were asleep. "Look by the lamppost. There are eyes, dude." Rolling my own eyes, I humored her, and I took a long look. Sure enough, faintly glowing eyes were staring at me. Now the lampposts in my old neighborhoods are tall. This thing would have had to be at least 8 feet tall, as the eyes were halfway up it. I was fear-stricken. I couldn't move, and I watched the thing move into the light a bit. Tall, furry, black legs, bent back at the joint like a dog's, a man-like torso, and a face covered in matted fur. I was frozen in place until my friend slammed my window shut, locking it and pulling the blinds. Snapping out of my terrified trance, I pulled my friend with me out of the room and downstairs to the living room. We slept on the couch all night. Well, more like pretended to sleep. I kept listening for noises like the thing was trying to get in. The next morning, my mom asked why we were so tired, and we lied. We said we were watching TV all night. We've only spoken about it a few times, but I'm still scared to look out my window in fear of finding something looking back in at me. The next morning, I kept hearing footsteps and stuff outside of my window. I felt that it had come back, that it was still outside, that it was still walking around. And I done it. I peeked one last time. I wish I wouldn't have. When I peeked, it had its face up against the window. It looked like a cartoon dog. It was weird looking. It had the human characteristics of a smile and everything with a dog's face. I screamed and jumped back, and when I did, it hit the window with its hands, both hands. I ran as hard as I could back down the stairs. This thing had crawled up the side of the house. Finally, I told my dad what had happened, and he went outside, and he did find claw marks up the side of our siding. He blamed it on a raccoon. "Huge claw marks," I told him. "You believe that's a raccoon? That must be the biggest raccoon that ever lived." My dad said it looks like he's went up and down several times, and that's why the holes look so big, and that's why they're so far apart. After that, I knew I would hear the thing outside of my window. Now it knew, and I knew in my heart, or I felt in my heart anyways, that it knew my parents didn't believe me. So I laid there, and whenever I heard it back outside my window, I did dare not look again. but I would go into prayer and I would pray out loud until I felt safe. I continued to do this for several times when it would come back. Finally it left, never to ever come back again. I haven't seen it or heard it since, and I keep praying, and I keep that protection up. I haven't even heard a howl, a whimper, or even a limb break. I believe that the power of prayer can keep these things away. I believe that also, because where I believe they come from, what they are. I agree completely. I think you've done the right thing. I think it's sad that your parents didn't believe you, but you've done the right thing. You went to your father also, your other father, your only father, not your dad, and he took care of you, and I'm glad he did. But still be careful. You know, weak people can let things in. A chain's only as strong as its weakest link. Be careful. Keep the prayers up, and thank you for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it. And I couldn't imagine looking out my window and something being pressed against it like that, you know. That's very terrifying because I know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you for sending this in, and until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the next one.